Hello guys, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Ifeoluwa. In this video I'll be showing you how to draft and cut an off-shoulder bustier. So if this is something you're interested in learning, stick around and watch this video to the end. It is also beginners friendly. If you are seeing this video and you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do well to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and also feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. Thank you very much guys. Now let's get started. These are the measurements I'll need: the bust measurements, the waist, the bust point, the under bust, the across back measurements, the armhole circumference, the front waistline, and the back waistline measurements. Now I'm going to mark out the chest line measurements from the top of the paper. So the chest line measurement is my armhole divided by 2. So I have 14 divided by 2, which is 7 inches. Then I'll mark it. I'll mark my bust point, the under bust, and then the front waistline measurements. So I'm going to do the same thing at the other side and then connect together. So I'm just going to label this. I have my shoulder line, the chest line, the bust point, this is the under bust, and then this is the front waistline. Now I'm going to take my across back measurements on the shoulder line and on the chest line. That is my across back divided by 2. So I have 7 inches. Then I'm going to connect it together. Now from the shoulder line, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. And then whatever I have left, I'm going to divide by 2 and mark that point. Then from that point, I'll be coming in by 0.75. Now on the chest line, I'm going to take the bust measurement divided by 4. So I have 34 inches divided by 4, which is 8.5 inches. So I'm going to mark it there, and then I'm going to connect those 3 points with my French curve. So that is going to be the armhole. Now I'm going to mark out my neckline. So I'm going to be using 3 inches for the width of the neck and also 3 inches for the depth of the neck. So I'm going to connect that with my French curve, and then I'm going to connect the shoulder slants. So I'm going to label this part as my center front and the other side as my side front. Now on the chest line, I'm going to be taking my bust span measurement, which is the nipple to nipple measurement. So I have 3.5 as this. So I'm going to connect this from the chest line down to the front waistline. Now towards the center front, I'll be taking in 0.5. and towards the side front, I'll be taking 1.5 inches. So I'm going to do the same thing on the under bust, and then I'll connect together. Then I'll use my French curve to connect from the bust point to the under bust on both sides. Now on the shoulder slant, I'm going to divide whatever I have there by 2 and connect it into the bust points. Then I'm going to take my neckline measurements for the off shoulder. So I'm going to be using my chest line measurement here, which is 7 inches. So you can go below 7 inches or you can go above 7 inches. Then on the armhole, I'm going to be taking the armhole measurement. So that is 5 inches. So I'm going to be using 5 inches for this. For this, you can also go below or you can go higher than it. Then I'm going to connect it with my French curve. So this neckline, you can use any neckline you want. This is a sweetheart neckline. You can use a V neckline, or you can also use a Kano neckline. So it depends on the type of neckline that you want for this part. So I'm going to be leaving this at the sweetheart neckline. Now to prevent gaping on the neckline, I'm going to be taking in 0.75 inches on both sides. So altogether I have 1.5 inches. So I'll take in 0.75 inches towards the center front and 0.575 inches towards the side front. So that way the neckline is going to lay well on the chest. Now I'm going to connect it back into the bust points. Now I'm going to take my bust and waist measurements. So for this bust, I already have 8.5. Then whatever I have there, I'm going to replace it back on the chest line. So I have about 1 inch there. So I'm replacing it back on the chest line. Now on the waistline, my waist divided by 4, and whatever I have there too, I'm going to replace it on the waistline. So I have about 2 inches. Then I'm going to connect it from the chest line to the waistline. Now we have the front waistline as 17 and the back waistline as 15. The difference between that is 2 inches. We are going to be taking that 2 inches on the bust points towards the side front, and then we are going to connect it back into the bust point. So that way the side of the front and the side of the back pattern are going to align together. One will be longer than the other. So these are the parts we are going to be cutting off from our pattern paper. Then you can reconnect your armhole curve. Now you can proceed to cut out your pattern paper after you must have cross-checked and you are sure that every measurement is correct on the pattern paper. Now I'm going to be closing up that side. To close it up, I'm going to be stopping a little bit before the bust point when I'm cutting. I'm also going to stop a little bit before the bust point for this part, and I'm going to use my masking tape to cover it up. Then I'm going to rejoin the line from the chest line to the waistline. Now by the time you fold this together, you see that the neckline will not be equal, so you are going to redraw a new neckline so that by the time you are cutting out on your fabric, or by the time you want to sew it, you're not going to have one neckline longer than the other, one part longer than the other. So you're just going to reconnect the neckline here on the pattern paper, and then you'll be cutting that part out as the new neckline. So you can proceed to cut out what you have now. So this is it for the front pattern of off-shoulder bustier. Now let's move on to the back. So for the back, I'm going to be bringing out the zip allowance first. So I'm using 1 inch, so I'm going to connect that together. Next thing I'm going to do is to take the chest line measurement, which is the armhole divided by 2. So I have 7 inches as the chest line, and the back waistline I have 15 inches. So I'm going to do the same thing at the other side and connect together. So this is the shoulder line, the chest line, and the back waistline. Then I'll label this part as the center back line. So that is the center back. Now from the center back line, I'm going to be taking the across back measurement, which is 7 inches, which is 14 divided by 2, 7 inches, and then I'm going to connect it from the shoulder line to the chest line. Now on the shoulder line, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch, and whatever I have left, I'll divide by 2 and come in by 0.5. Then on the chest line, I'm going to divide the bust by 4 and mark that. So from the center back line, that is where I'll be taking the bust measurements. Now I'm going to connect these 3 points together with my French curve. Now I'm going to take my neckline measurements. I'm going to use the same 3 inches I used on the front pattern. So, and then I'm going to be using 1 inch for the weight. So that's just the basic neckline. And then I'm going to connect together and also connect my shoulder slants. Now on the waistline, I'll be going in by 1 inch. So from the center back line, from that point, I'm taking 1 inch inwards. Then I'll be connecting the 1 inch back to the center line. So that is going to be our new zip allowance. Now on the waistline, I'm going to be taking the waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch for that. So from that point of the new zip allowance, I'll be taking that measurement. Then I'll connect from the chest line to the waistline. Then for the neckline, I'll be taking 5 inches for mine, and on the armhole I'm going to take 5 inches also, which is the same thing I used for the front pattern. Then I'm going to connect it together. So I'm going to be using a straight neckline for this one. So if you want yours to be like a V neckline or a deeper neckline, you can just go down by more than 5 inches. Then for the darts, I'll be taking it from the center back line, so that is the original line. I'm going to be taking 3.5 inches also. Then I'll take 0.5 inch on both sides, so that is the 1 inch that we took as the allowance. Then I'm going to take the 3.5 on the chest line also. Then I'll connect together, so that is my darts. Now to also prevent gaping for the back, on the neckline I'm going to be extending the dart leg to the neckline. Then I'm going to be taking 0.5 inches on both sides. So I'm going to extend this dart leg and then measure out 0.5 inches on both sides. So that is one altogether. Then I'm going to connect it back into the darts. Now I'm going to replace whatever I have here. I'm going to replace it on the chest line. So I have about 1 inch. Then I'll connect it back into the waistline. Then I'm going to draw out my armhole. So after this, you're free to cut out whatever you have on your pattern paper. So this is all for the drafting and the cutting of an off-shoulder bustier. Now if you want to cut this out on your fabric, do not forget to add all the necessary allowances that you will need. And then for this part, if you want, you can close it up when you want to cut it on your fabric, or you can open it up, or you can even cut it out. So guys, I'm going to see you in my next tutorial. So do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet, and to those who have, thank you very much. I really appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching. Bye.